Damn, dude, we barely escaped that giant steel egg before it went right into the damn sun.
Yeah, but those things followed us back on the ship, and the big egg explosion opened up some sort of rift in time-space. We're getting pulled in, and for some reason we can't accelerate out of its gravitational field.
Look, man, I know, okay? We're dragging ass, I get it. All right, just give me a second. Running diagnostic. Oh, shit.
What?
It's the chains.
The chains? You mean the wet chains? The wet chains in the wet chain room?
The wet chain room chains, yes. They are bone dry. We both know the ship can't fly without the damn wet chains, man.
The remote chain wetters are offline. Someone is going to have to go down to the wet chain room and wet the chains.
But that whole area is crawling with xenomorphs, dude.
I'll go.
Coolerbot, no, it's too dangerous.
But we all know the ship won't function correctly if the wet chains in the wet chain room aren't wet enough. And I'm the only one who can do this, bitch.
Ah, shit. Man, he's right. With dry chains, we can't outrace the gravitational field of the time-space rift, and then we can't maintain life support on the ship, and then won't be able to control a lot of the basic ship functions. Those xenomorphs will be the least of our problem. Unfortunately, Coolerbot's our only hope.
Coolerbot, run. Okay, I'm tracking him. Okay, he's past the boiler room. He's approaching the wet chain room.
All right, camera's on. Yeah, I see him. Monitor 3. He's on the catwalk.
Chain wetting commencing.
Oh shit, tracker shows movement right outside the chain room. Those things have broken through from the cargo bay.
We have chain integrity at 30%.
They're at the wet chain door. There's got to be like 10, maybe
50%,
12, 15 of them. I don't know.
60%. Engines are powering on. Man, that little dude can spray.
Coolerbot, get out of there. They're breaking through. They're
85,
breaking into the room. Get out of there.
95. Wet chain room chains are at maximum wet chainness. Engines are on.
They're through the door. Coolerbot, quick, clamp onto a chain. We've got one shot at this.
Clamp.
Opening cargo bay airlocks. Let's blast these fuckers out into the rift.
Oh shit, dude, it's working.
Mayday, mayday. Wet chain too slippery. Can't keep clamp.
Dude, shit, come on, close the airlock, quick.
I'm closing it.
No, dude. Fuck, it's too late. We blasted all those xenomorphs out, but the doors didn't shut in time. I think that guy's gone through the rift.
No, turn the ship around or cut the engines and let the rift pull us in too. We have to go get Coolerbot.
Dude, it's too late, man. The rift is closed. Coolerbot's gone.
Welcome to Crew Expendable. I am almost a normal man, Hallstrom.
And I am some kind of crab Rohrbacher.
And look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's an alien podcast.
Ours, specifically, the one that we do.
Sure, there's a few others out there.
I'm sure there probably are. I've never listened to or even checked, but I'm sure there are.
I have. They're pretty good. I'm not sure if any of them have talked about Superman versus aliens.
Well, I guess we got a leg up on them then, because that's what we're talking about in this episode.
Written by Dan Jurgens with art by Dan Jurgens and Kevin Nolan. Colors by Gregory Wright and Android Images. Oh boy. Letters by Bill Oakley and covers by Dan Jurgen and Kevin Nolan. Wow, I got the credits right out of the way. You know why I did it? I mean, it came up naturally, but also sometimes when we're doing comics, I almost forget. And then I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to do those.
So you just got him out of the way early. Nice.
Yeah, credits basically up top.
Yeah, pretty much. We're
Yeah.
getting right into it, apparently.
How's it going, Kenny?
Just chilling. I'd like to take a moment that as of this recording, I mean, I know this isn't coming out, right away after we record it, but as of this recording, I'd like to mention to more of the listeners out there than you specifically that the final episode of MK PodQuest came out yesterday. And so I would just like to in front of everyone listening congratulate Neil on a very good show. And unfortunately it took over a year for the final episode to come out, but that's fine. It was still a good show, and I've listened to every single episode multiple times except for the most recent one, because I only listened to that the once so far. But like I said, I just like to congratulate you on making a good show that I enjoyed listening to. For all the listeners out there, if you didn't know, this show literally exists because of that one, and if he hadn't made it, this show wouldn't exist, because there was a joke that Neil told on one of the episodes where Corey made some kind of vague reference to a background character looking sort of like an engineer, and then Neil made a comment to the effect of, well, he started talking about engineers, and then he cuts himself off and says something to the effect of, actually, I'm just going to save that for my inevitable alien podcast. Let's talk about something else. And then I heard that and went, and so I messaged him and I was like, I know what you said was a joke, but how about we do it for real? And then Neil was like, yeah, sure. And that's where the show came from.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. The nice things you said. You didn't. I mean, I appreciate the whole thing you said. You didn't say anything mean.
I wouldn't say I didn't say anything mean. So
yeah. I don't appreciate you blaming me for this podcast existing, because I tell people it's your fault that this show happened. So,
well, I was the one that actually suggested that we do it. So technically it was my idea, but you were the one that said alien podcast. And I went, aha.
Yeah. Well, no, Corey and I finally, after, much deliberation, we were like, the show's had been winding down for a long time, even before this very extended delay. We had one episode recorded that we weren't even sure if we should release it or not, and then we were just kind of like, you know what, we need some finality for this thing, right? Let's put the last episode out and let's just let everybody know that this is it. Yeah, man, it was a really fun show to do, and I hope everybody goes and listens to it. Don't be afraid if you're not a big Mortal Kombat person. It's mostly a silly show about nonsense. You'll get caught up pretty quick about all the nonsense, about all the Mortal Kombat stuff.
You don't really need to know much of anything about Mortal Kombat, because all of the stuff, like the core of the show isn't actually canonically connected to the games anyway.
Right.
I mean, some of the stuff that was covered on the show is, but most of it's not connected to the games anyway. And like the references to the game canon that a lot of the stuff makes, either it doesn't matter if you know, or the thing explains what the connection is. Right. So it's fine.
Yeah. We watched the idea of the show was, let's watch the 1998 television series Mortal Kombat Conquest, which was a prequel to the 1995 movie. Let's just start there and see how it goes. So I'd say if you've seen the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie, which most people have, right?
I would agree. Yeah.
Just start listening. You're good to go. I kind of went back to listen to some of those early episodes, and it's strange listening to myself from several years ago try to podcast.
It's fine.
Yeah. But hey,
I mean, I'm sure if I went back to our early episodes from a couple of years ago, I'd be like, ugh.
Yeah, you grow.
So
we all grow, right?
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. It's fine.
But yeah, thank you for for those kind words. Anyway, I don't think we mentioned it. The very last episode we did for MK Podquest is on Uwe Boll's Blood Rain movie, everybody. So
and I definitely did have some thoughts about it. Well, I didn't have some thoughts about it as far as the movie because I haven't seen Blood Rain, but I definitely have a lot of thoughts about Uwe Boll, that's for sure.
Oh boy, we all do. We don't have time to get into all that now, but hey.
Yeah, that's not what we're talking about. But I just wanted to say for all the listeners out there that go and listen to the final episode of MK Podquest and also all of the other episodes.
Thank you, Kenny. And hey, speaking of movies, you hear about this Superman movie?
It seems vaguely familiar. I mean, I think I've heard that name once or twice, yeah.
Did you know there's comic books?
What the heck?
Did you know that there's Superman comic books with aliens in them?
Ironically enough, that I actually did know. That's like the one Superman comic I'm aware of.
And you thought that's where the character came from, right?
I thought that was Superman's first appearance. Yes, that's correct.
Was doing alien stuff.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Let's go with that
Whatever.
bit. Why not?
We should also let people know it's Tuesday night we're recording, and you know what happens when we have to do a weekday evening record.
Yeah, it's both a weekday and an evening that we're recording, so we're going into it. That's for sure.
So I'm tired, and I hurt my back at work today.
Hey, nice.
So I'm extra present right now.
Good work.
Oh, and we spent like 40 minutes plotting out the future intros of the show.
Yeah, we actually do write those intros out before. And we actually script them out before we actually do them. They're not improv. So
yes. Where was I?
You were talking about Superman comics.
Yeah,
and
man.
how you were present today.
Yeah, man. We are talking about a Superman aliens crossover, Superman versus aliens. Because Superman's kind of all over the place right now. Brand new movie, which I have not seen because I'm not watching movies in theaters because I have epilepsy.
I also have not seen it because as of this recording, I was going to a couple of days ago after I got off work. A friend of mine was going to come get me, and then we were going to go to the movies and see a late showing. Yeah. And then on his way over, his car died and wouldn't start, and AAA had to tow it.
Oh, shit.
So I missed my chance, and so I haven't seen it yet either.
Well, maybe by the time this has come out, one or both of us have seen the movie, but I have not seen it yet. But I did read this comic book series, which is probably just as good.
I'm sure it's exactly the exact same level of quality. Yes.
Yeah, there's no way, right? Look, I'm just this is a 3-issue series. Go
ahead. Go ahead. I know you want to say it. Go ahead.
3-issue series published in 1995. Okay. Post Superman, Death of Superman, right?
Yep.
Written by Dan Jurgens, the guy, the Superman guy at the time. Written in a weird time in DC Comics where they were I don't know what the fuck they were doing with Superman, but they were like, we're going to kill off any Kryptonian or make sure there's no Kryptonians around who aren't Superman.
Yeah, that was what was it called? 85 was, what was it? Crisis on Infinite Earths. Is that what that was?
Yes, 85. Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, they killed off every single Kryptonian except for Superman under the justification of, by this point, half of Krypton was still alive. And so we thought it kind of detracted from his story to have all of them still kicking around. So we killed all of them except Clark off. And the reason that's significant is because, spoiler alert, Supergirl is a major supporting character in this comic, although she's not, described as such.
Well,
and
we'll get to that when we get to it, but there's more to that than, yeah.
Well, the reason that's significant is because they killed her off in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and they didn't bring her back to the main Superman continuity for another 20 years.
Not till 2005.
Yeah,
I think.
This was made during that 20-year period where Supergirl didn't exist anymore.
But This is also not Supergirl. This is a different
Well,
character named Kara from a different planet.
True.
Who is not Kryptonian.
It is a 16-year-old girl named Kara from Argo City, but in the continuity of this comic, Argo City is not from Krypton. That's correct.
Yeah, and she's not Kryptonian.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is we're spoiling the plot here early. The whole thing's a fucking red herring. I'm just
Fine, yeah.
the thing I was
It doesn't like the thing of it is it doesn't actually matter that Argo City is not from Krypton. So
I was biting my tongue because I was like, we got to give some Superman background so that we're not doing the thing that I get mad about Jonathan Hickman doing, which is with not giving people background information. But I'm not. But hey, Aliens versus Avengers. This is not okay. This is not a powerhouse crossover. This is how they used to do crossovers. This is non-canon and kind of a waste of my time.
yeah, listeners, Neil. I don't remember if it was last night or the night before, but Neil described this comic as, quote, dumb. And once he did that, I knew exactly what this episode was going to be like.
I don't hate it. It was just dumb. This was a 1995 Alien crossover, right? This was
It sure was.
There is some cool shit in this that we'll talk about, but it is just dumb. So, all right. So I was trying to paint a picture of where we are in Superman comics at the time, right? Dan Jurgens is kind of running the show over there.
Yeah, Death and Return of Superman had already happened. That was in 92 or 93, and this was in 95.
So I think we're in the Triangle era, right? Where there's 3 Superman books.
I think so.
Yeah. Because that's Death was definitely running in all 3 books.
I mean, I don't know if all 3 of them were still publishing by the time this came out, but yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah, they published all the way up to New 52.
Oh, okay, all right.
I believe they may not have called that entire era the Triangle era, but it doesn't. Who cares, right?
Yeah, who cares?
Superman. DC was pushing Superman so hard. There were 3 Superman titles. Is the point? There was Action Comics, Adventures of Superman, and Superman. Superman had a mullet, right? This is when he had his long hair.
Yep, one of my first notes is I was like, oh shit, Superman's rocking the mullet in this one.
They were definitely leaning into, they were not, he's corny as fuck, which is fine. I love a corny Superman, but some of this was just kind of dumb. You know what? That's not fair. Kenny, how did you feel about this? Just off the top. Right. Let's let the YouTube listeners know what they're in for right away.
I liked it more than you did, it sounds like, but there were some issues that I had with it, especially in the pacing and some of the character motivations. But I think overall I probably liked it more than you because there wasn't a part of it. Like when I was reading the comic, there was no part of it that made me go, wow, that was stupid like you did. But there were parts that didn't really work that well for me. But I think overall it sounds like I probably liked it more than you. But yeah, like I said, it's not like a perfect comic. It's definitely not my favorite thing we've read. There's definitely some issues that I had with it. But yeah, I thought it was all right.
I think it just felt like it was a waste of my time, really. I guess the other big detail, which I don't know, I'm not a Superman historian, and in 1995 I wasn't paying a lot of attention. Lex Luthor is not in charge of LexCorp at this time.
He is not. That's correct.
I don't know why. This is not the era where he was president, I believe. So
I think that was I think that was later. I think that was like the early 2000s.
So I don't exactly know why he's not in charge, and I did not look it up.
And I also don't even know who is in charge of LexCorp at the time.
Right.
Because the LexCorp executive that is like relevant to this comic is a Dr. Kimball.
Yes.
But she is described as being the leader of LexCorp's space program. So I don't know who the CEO of LexCorp is. They never actually say at any point in this comic.
Right. Oh, well. Let's talk about it. First thing I want to talk about is the cover for issue 1. Oh, hey, I read this out of a very cool. I have the Dark Horse Comics DC Comics crossover trade paperback.
Mm-hmm.
It's got Superman is the headline character on the cover and on the spine. So Superman's the headliner. They did a version of this for Batman also, which has other crossovers in it. But this one has, in addition to the two Superman Aliens crossovers, this also has the Superman Madman crossovers written by Mike Allred.
I don't think I even knew the two of I don't even think that I knew that comic existed. Shit.
Yeah, I didn't
All
either.
right.
That's pretty dope, though. I'm looking forward to reading that. And a Superman Tarzan story where it looks like Superman's history has been rewritten, like combined with Tarzan's history.
Well, that's kind of cool.
So like, as if, Tarzan, an orphan raised by the apes, but just sub in Kal-El for Tarzan, raised by the apes.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, man, it looks pretty rad. So a very cool volume if you can find it. These are so out of print now that I know that they're definitely kind of expensive. I know the Batman one, I don't want to talk about how much I paid for that.
Oh yeah, there's definitely no way that Marvel would let that still be in print for sure.
Yeah, well, we say that, but we don't know what could happen down the line, right?
That's true.
But,
that's true.
But hey, so I want to talk about the cover for issue 1, I guess the standard cover, I believe.
Yep.
Which is kind of a gray industrial background with the profile of a xenomorph and Superman just sort of rising up kind of in a fight pose in front of it.
Yeah.
Very cool cover. I honestly really, really like this cover and the simplicity of it.
It's not my favorite of the three, but it is a very good cover.
Yeah, it's straightforward. It tells you, it gives you what you're looking for. There is a variant cover, which is Superman kind of just gripped in battle with the xenomorph amidst some ovomorphs, surrounded by some ovomorphs in like a green like background field in like a cave setting. Also pretty cool. The covers are pretty rad, but that's all.
Cool.
Nothing to write home about, but I do for some reason really like this. I think I just really like the profile of the xenomorph. And I think what I like about it is it almost implies some intelligence to the xenomorph for some reason, seeing it drawn that way. I can't really explain, which is definitely something the story tries to broadcast a little bit.
Yeah, they really make a big deal out of Clark hemming and hawing over whether these things are sentient enough for him to be allowed to kill them.
Yeah, we'll get into
that. But, yeah, whatever. We'll get into that sooner or later.
Anyway, the book opens up with Clark and Lois Lane just being like, why does LexCorp want to see us? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And then there's the executive who's like, hey, come on, get on the helicopter. We got to go see this thing right away. Our satellite detected something. We got to go to space, basically. Not space. We got to go out to our ship, right? And this thing crashed down in the ocean.
And the thing is,
trying to rush to the space parts. Jesus, I got to settle down.
I can't even remember what the thing is called. It's I don't know.
Basically, it's a distress beacon that was sent out.
Okay. The thing that they're flying to is called Lexport, which is basically LexCorp's space station that they have built right out in space. But before that,
way before that. Sorry, I didn't realize that's where you were getting to.
I mean, that's ultimately where they're going to go. But the reason they're going to go there is because there's a meteorite flying to Earth, and Dr. Kimball, who, as mentioned earlier, is the leader of LexCorp's space program, wants to basically, bias the news about it to make them look good.
Right.
And while they're up there, Clark realizes that they're the thing's broadcasting a signal in Kryptonian.
Yes.
And he's like, oh no, I need to find out more about this. So he busts out a move that I fucking loved and thought was really funny and clever. He needs to get everyone else out of the way.
Yes.
So he uses his laser just a little bit, turned up to like 10%, to overheat the helicopter just enough for it to need to land. and then when it lands, he goes, "Oh, I'm going to go off to go look for a road," and then turns into Superman and flies off up to the meteorite. And I thought that was really clever.
It was so using his heat vision to fry the helicopter to make it land was pretty dope. For him then to be like, I think I saw a road up there. I'll go check it out. And then Kimball's like, our rescue team's going to be here right away. And Lois is like making excuses for him because she knows he's Superman at this point. And she's like, just give it a rest. Once he's got his mindset on something, he's going to do it. Here's the thing that bugs me about it. For the rest of the story, no one's like, hey, whatever happened to Clark? Where'd Clark go? Where'd your coworker go, Lois Lane?
Yep. There is a point here in just a few pages where it jumps 2 days into the future, and not once does anyone ever say, "Hey, we haven't seen Clark in like 2 days."
Yeah. So they get to the ship. They get to the ship to the boat, right? The ship. No Clark. Don't even care about Clark or what the fuck happened with Clark. No mention of him again for the rest of the fucking. I mean, I don't know. They just swap him out for Superman. I don't like the flimsy excuse to swap Clark out for Superman was just all over the 90s and just bugs me. I don't know. It just doesn't work for me at all. It's half the reason I think people think Superman is so cheesy. It's like watching fucking season 1 of Smallville. Like, how did anybody not connect the dots?
But
the whole town just huffing paint thinner or something. My God.
Probably. But yeah, basically he intercepts this meteorite, which turns out to be a distress probe that got sent out by a Kryptonian city.
Right.
And turns out this city, any Superman heads out there listening to the episode will recognize that what I'm describing is Argo City.
Yes.
Because this is like something established from Superman canon. It is a city that put a big, like under the dome or Simpsons movie style dome over the city, and then blew up a bunch of bombs underneath it to blast the entire city into space. And he discovers that the distress probe is from there, and so he's like, oh, I need to go there and help them. And so Superman, because again, he's, as Neil pointed out, he's not Clark again for the rest of the comic, he's just Superman from here on out.
Right.
And Superman and Lois go to Lexport, and so that Dr. Kimball can give Superman a spaceship to fly to Argo City and check out the distress beacon.
Yes, never mind that Superman can fly around in space, but I kind of get it. He's far away from the sun, and they're really focused in on the concept that he has stored up solar energy, but he will expend it, and he's too far away from the sun to recharge it.
Yeah, by the time he actually gets to Argo City is like far enough away from a sun that he like doesn't have his full strength or full suite of powers anymore. Right. And the listeners, side note, that's the explanation, like that's the throwaway explanation they use for how he's able to get injured by a xenomorph. Wink.
Yeah, actually. I mean, in which I thought, I was like, okay, this is a good way to balance the power levels, right? Because otherwise he's just untouchable. He's just kind of...
And one thing I do like about that is that they introduce that, and he's like, oh, I'm starting to get weaker because there isn't a sun around. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's like the explanation for how we can, like a xenomorph is a believable threat against him.
Right.
But then I was reading the rest of the comic, and they keep bringing that up and keep talking about it to the point where it's not like a throwaway line, like him slowly like losing his powers and they're dwindling and he's getting weaker as the comic goes on. That's not just like a throwaway line. That's actually like a subplot in the book, which I thought was cool. That like I liked how they came up with that and then didn't use that as an excuse and then just toss it aside as a throwaway. Like they actually kept it and kept bringing it back and like made it a focal point of the book, which is something I actually appreciated and liked about it.
Yeah, it adds to the tension and like the stakes keep getting raised because of that. I did appreciate that. I just want to talk about Argo briefly. I know we touched on it twice now. But again, as we mentioned earlier, this is an era where DC was like, let's wipe all of the Kryptonian shit away. We've built up too much of it, and all over these years we're gonna get rid of it. So no Argo City in this. No, I think so. Like the three big Krypton cities are Argo City, Kryptonopolis, and Kandor.
Yep.
And all of those have been kind of like erased from continuity at this point. So this is the first contact and the story is not canon, but this is the first time it's being raised. Like the idea of Argo is being raised in like post Crisis on Infinite Earths, as far as I am familiar with.
I mean, I also don't read DC very much, but as far as I am familiar with, yes, too.
Right. I'm by no means an expert, but I can tell like the fans were probably flipping out at this and thinking this is pretty cool. This is a really fun sort of Elseworlds tale. I'm glad we're getting like some hints of these things. And yeah, like you said, Argo City covered itself in a dome to try to like keep out hazardous like germs and things like that. And then I think depending on where you are in continuity or, universe resets, either blew itself away, separated itself, or when Krypton was destroyed, the dome helped it survive when it was blasted out into space.
Yeah, in this comics continuity, they blew themselves off of the surface of the planet before it got destroyed on purpose. Like they set bombs under the city and purposely blew themselves off the surface of the planet. And again, even though I already spoilered it, at this point we're supposed to think they're from Krypton because that's not revealed until later on in the comics. So at this point, as far as we know, it is the Kryptonian Argo City that we know it. So
yes. So Superman gets to Argo City, and one thing I appreciated was he basically immediately finds a facehugger.
Yep. Or as he calls it, some kind of crab, hence my designation earlier.
Yes. One important thing. While he's on his journey, he reminisces back to this. That's what I was trying to get at. This storyline that ran, again, this was just after Crisis on Infinite Earths. I had to look this up. This is not something I was familiar with.
Yeah, I had to look this up too. It's from the late 80s, like 89, 90.
Yeah, right? Superman issues 20, 21, and 22, I believe, were the issues it ran in. A story where in a pocket universe, Lex Luthor, a good Lex Luthor, who I believe is the Alexander Luthor that ends up becoming a major player, years later in Infinite Crisis, has unleashed 3 evil Kryptonians, one of whom is General Zod, but the other 2 are not, Non and what's her name?
Whatever her name is. Yeah.
Can't pull it right now. Mother at crewexpendable.net.
That's right.
Danny will put it in the YouTube comments. And Superman basically kills them with, I think, not gold kryptonite, but he kills them with something that Superman kills them. Right, because they've laid waste to this pocket universe. They've killed everyone in there, and so he can't risk them escaping into any of the other universes, including his own. So he kills them.
So he kills them, yeah. And then during the ride to Argo City, he's like reminiscing about that and like talking about how much like, guilt he feels over it and like how tough it is and how hard it is to think about that. And it's like the hardest choice he's ever made. And like he's decided because he did that he will vow no matter what to never kill anything again ever under any circumstances, no matter what.
Ursa, but again, Ursa and Non are not the other Kryptonians in the comic book story. But yeah, this is the only time that Superman has ever killed anything or anyone, right?
I mean, that's probably not technically true, but that's the canon they're going with, yes.
It is still, I believe, technically true.
Oh, it is. It is still, okay.
If you discount Man of Steel where he breaks General Zod's neck, right?
I am discounting Man of Steel for a wide variety of reasons.
Sure. Everyone settle down. I know he brought up Zack Snyder movie. It's okay, everybody.
Because if we're going to talk about Man of Steel, then we also
Breathe.
have to talk about Injustice, where he killed a whole bunch of people. So
Right. Yeah. Breathe, everyone.
to
It's
talk
okay.
about alternate canon Supermans,
Fine.
then
Yeah. But this Superman story was supposed to just be, it was a way for them to clean up something. I think that Alexander Luthor actually was a big part of Crisis on Infinite Earths. I actually have been meaning, I was going to sit down and read like all of the crises.
Mhm.
That's a lot of reading, man. I'm probably not going to get to that for a while.
yeah, there's a lot of them, that's for sure.
But this was like a leftover storyline from like this Pocket Universe thing, a leftover storyline from like pre-Crisis on Infinite Earths. And so they did this story afterwards to sort of clean up those loose ends.
Mhm.
And so it is interesting that they're referencing that here, I guess, specifically to like highlight the no-kill rule, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it was a controversial sort of quote unquote shocking Superman story at the time because the dude just straight up like uses this device to like just vaporize these Kryptonians.
Yeah, it's wild because like from our perspective of reading this comic, the obvious comparison point is AVA.
Yes.
And in comparison to AVA, like AVA is very extremely obviously, even from like page 1,
Better.
an alternate universe. Whereas this comic is written in such a way where I'm not saying it's supposed to be canon.
Right.
What I'm saying is that the way this comic is structured is that it could be canon.
Yes.
Except for the fact that xenomorphs are in it. Like the presence of xenomorph means it's an alternate universe, but like otherwise, this character that we see is the canon Superman from the point where it was written.
Yes.
It just veers off and is now in a different universe. But this isn't like an entirely new thing. This is the Superman that you were getting in mainline Superman, just now he's in a different universe and you only know that because you're fighting xenomorphs, you know?
Right. But even then, this specific story at this time ends up being so encapsulated and isolated, it could still be in continuity, right? And it just doesn't really get referenced.
Yeah, like creatively, there is no reason this comic can't be canon. The reason it's not canon is because of licensing, not because like they wrote it out or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. So anyway, so Superman's thinking about, for some reason, he's like, man, I'm thinking about that time I had to kill those Kryptonians. That was a bummer. I hope I never have to do anything like that again. Hope that doesn't come up when I get to this weird space place with these possible other Kryptonians. I guess that's why he was thinking about it, because he thinks he's going to meet Kryptonians again.
Yeah, like the reason he's thinking about it is because the probe gave him a message in Kryptonian, and because like that's why I stressed that at this point this is intended to be the canon Superman, except for the fact that it's like in a different universe. Because the reason he's thinking about it is because he's like, that's the only other time I've ever met Kryptonians in my life, and I was forced to kill them.
There. Yeah. Yes. Important distinction. Thank you. So he gets to this floating island in space, Argo City, right? This domed floating island.
Yeah, he doesn't know it's Argo City yet, but for just ease of us discussing it, we're just saying it's Argo City, but he doesn't find that out for another few pages. And the first thing he comes across is that everything around the dome seems to be deserted, and something with really big claws was trying to get in through all of the doors around the dome.
Yep.
Then this is the point where we find out that Argo City has drifted so far out into space that he's not nearby any suns. And so this is the point where we get told that he's starting to lose his powers.
Yes.
And then the first thing that happens right after that is he finds 4 survivors. And they're not looking very good. They're looking very wounded. and he goes, oh no, I should help them. So he loads the 4 of them into the LexCorp ship he came on and programs it to go back to Earth. When he goes back to where he found them, he notices a dead facehugger that he refers to as some kind of weird crab, and he's like, huh, that's strange. And then he just keeps on going on as if nothing else had.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's not good. Immediately, I was like, okay, this is bad. So he just threw face hugs people onto the shuttle, and he's sending it back to Lexport.
Yeah, and listeners, that storyline goes exactly where you think it's going to go.
Yes.
He does not want to break through the door or through the dome in case he wants to, because he doesn't want to like risk contaminating shit or whatever. So what he does is he tunnels underground and loops through underneath the walls surrounding the city, but rather than coming up just on the other side of the dome, he instead breaks into a big cavern underneath that is filled with dozens of ovos. And he's like, huh, that's weird.
Yeah, immediately finds ovomorph eggs, right? Again, so we've already seen a facehugger dead. He's immediately found facehugger or ovomorphs. Jesus Christ.
There's a whole bunch of them. There's like in the panel we see like at least 20 of them, I'm pretty sure. So there's a whole bunch.
Yeah, there might be a mist floating above them. It's definitely drawn. It's not like the blue mist, but there's a mist layer above them. He starts flying through the caves, talking about how creepy it is and it smells like death. Then we see a xenomorph stalking him.
Yep, a full-grown one steps out of the shadow, follows him, and then immediately attacks him.
Yes.
And then there's a few pages of the 2 of them brawling.
It rules. And this does rule.
The fight is really good, and there's also one like absolute classic Superman moment that I fucking loved, where the xenomorph comes out and is menacing him, and Superman's like, whoa there, hold on, and like tries to reason with him.
Yeah.
And like tries to talk him down and calm him down. And then when he realizes it doesn't work and the Xeno attacks him, the 2 of them start fighting.
Yeah, he's literally trying to talk the thing down like it's intelligent and just in English.
Yep. Yeah.
And this is like, okay, yeah, it's a Superman thing to do, right? But okay, so nitpicking, maybe. He's speaking to it in English. There's no parentheses and no asterisks translated from Kryptonian, right? The distress beacon was in Kryptonian. He came to this place where he's expecting to meet Kryptonian people. He's not even speaking what could be the native language of this place that he's expecting. He's speaking English. I don't think English is treated as common in the DC universe, right? The Green Lanterns all have translators in their rings.
It's not.
Okay.
However, I will say that when he meets Kara here in a few pages, I think the 2 of them, like, as written on the page, they're speaking in English to each other, and it's just assumed they're actually speaking Kryptonian, and we're just seeing it in English.
We're seeing it in English, but there's parentheses around it. That's why I mentioned that. They're speaking.
Okay. I must not have known that. Okay.
Yeah. And they make a comment about it later. But he's just talking to this thing in fucking English, like, and he still like. His assumption that this isn't something he can reason with is just kind of, I don't know, just it's a little silly, right?
I mean, that doesn't seem that strange to me. I mean, like, how should I put this? The fact that he's trying to reason with something doesn't strike me as much more outrageous than him trying to reason with Doomsday. Like, Doomsday looks more humanoid than a xenomorph does,
right? But
not much more.
Sure, but Doomsday also could kind of talk, and the xenomorph's just hissing at him.
I don't know. I just, like, the thing of it is that I'm not saying that it's nitpicking like you suggested it was. It didn't seem that strange to me, because like Superman's like gut instinct would be to not fight something. And like the fact that he spoke to it in English just seemed like it's because we were reading an American comic book that's written in English, so I didn't really think anything about it.
I think my problem with this book is that Superman as a character is a lot smarter than this book makes him seem.
I will admit that Superman is a little dumb in this book.
He's dumber in this book than he usually is. But let's talk about this fucking fight, because this fight rules. The xenomorph claws at him, cuts him. The claws cut him, right?
Mm-hmm. It sure does.
Slices chest, right? He punches the thing.
The very first thing that happens is that the S gets cut off of his costume.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, what the hey? All right, fine. And then he's like, tries to hold his mouth. He's like, I can just keep your jaws propped open. And then it like distends.
Yeah, and then that's when he finds out it has a second jaw, and that second jaw bites him in the forehead, and he's like, ouch.
And then he punches it in, like punches up its throat, and acid pours out, and the acid pours into his eyes and blinds him.
Yep.
And Superman is now actually blinded and still being attacked by this xenomorph that occasionally squeaks. It doesn't just scree, it also squeaks.
Yeah, and right around this point, to kind of emphasize how he's starting to lose his powers, not only does he get injured by this thing a couple of times, but he straight up says that this thing is hitting him as hard as Doomsday did. Yeah. And if you recall, this is just a couple of years after Death of Superman.
Yes.
So he's talking about this thing hits as hard as a guy that hit so hard it killed him. So...
Yeah, and I like the way they track the damage on his costume. Like the arm that got burned with acid, the sleeve is now gone to his forearm on it. Like,
yeah, he definitely suffers clothing damage as he gets more injured. He loses suit, and there is a point later on where he is wearing an absolutely hilarious bit of his costume that's the only thing left.
Yeah, basically just his underpants.
Yeah, he has his boots, his trunks, and one pant leg, and that's it.
Yeah, man.
But anyway, that hasn't happened yet.
His clothes get Dragon Ball Z shredded in this. It's kind of rad.
Yeah, but then, like I said, he gets cornered by the xenomorph, and it's about to try to kill him some more.
Yeah, man.
When some lady with blonde hair and a flamethrower shows up and chases it away and saves him.
Yeah, and she's kind of got short, like Ripley hair, right?
Yeah, kind of. And then they have a conversation about how he'll basically be fine because he's like stronger than the average bear. And then this is the point where we find out that this is Argo City and this girl's name is Kara. And let me say, a little bit later on, we're going to find out soon that Kara is, in keeping with classic Supergirl, a 16-year-old girl.
Yep.
Did you know she was supposed to be 16 when you were looking at this character?
No.
She does not look like a 16-year-old. I definitely thought that was an adult, like 30-year-old woman.
The art definitely draws her older. The problem with... Well, they draw Kara older across the board. There's you need I knew she was 16 because I know the character of Kara Zor-El is 16 years old, right?
Yeah.
But the boys who draw her often try to draw her of an older age.
Yeah, it kind of happens
a lot in comic books.
When she said her name was Kara, I was like, oh, so this character design is supposed to be 16. She does not fucking look 16. Like I said, I definitely thought she was like in her late 20s or like maybe 30. And then she said she was Kara, and I was like, haha, what?
Like we brought up her return to the universe in 2005 or whenever it was. They put Michael Turner on that book.
They sure did
in Batman Superman, and Michael Turner on the character design of 16-year-old Kara Zor-El.
Yeah.
And Michael Turner only draws women one way, guys. Like,
he sure does.
I'm a Michael Turner fan, but when he's drawing 16-year-old Kara Zor-El the same way he's drawing
Wonder Woman,
27-year-old or however old she is.
Power Girl,
Sarah Pizzini from Witchblade, or Lara Croft.
Yeah.
It's a little,
One thing I will say, though, is while you are right, this character is canonically 16, but does not look 16. She looks a lot older than that. I will say, though, the fact that they made her look like a grown-ass woman, they did not use as an excuse to make her sexy in this comic.
Agreed. Yeah, there is a distinction there.
Yeah, she I don't know if it's because they knew they were drawing a 16-year-old character, but they absolutely, even though they made her look like an adult, they still were not like, this is a 16-year-old girl, so she's not sexy at all. She's not wearing like form-fitting clothes or anything like that. She just looks like a normal person. And so when they said she was Kara, I was like, oh, thank God.
Her character design feels blonde Ripley to me, like, honestly.
Yeah. And admittedly, having a big flamethrower doesn't help the comparison.
Right.
But yeah, she has like the kind of like small, like puffy blonde bob kind of thing. Yeah, it's like she doesn't not look like Ripley.
Yeah, I think that was the inspiration for sure.
Yeah.
Right. So the full body space suit, not form fitting like you said, but like, coveralls inspired, and then the flamethrower and the short hair, and then she's basically flamethrows the thing. She's like, "Come with me if you want to live. I got some shit. We'll put it on your eyes. I'm Kara Zor-El. This is Argo City."
And she gives him a blindfold.
She doesn't say Kara Zor-El. That's just me.
Yeah, she says her name is Kara.
She only ever says her name is Kara.
She only ever says Kara. She never says that her last name is Zor-El. She never says that. But yeah, she gives Clark a blindfold because, like you said, he got acid in his eyes and so he can't see. And so she's like leading him through the ruins of Argo City, and that's when she's like telling him about who she is and what what Argo City is and how it came to be and all these other things. And then
meanwhile,
it cuts back to the ship he sent off, and one of those 4 survivors gives birth to a chest burster. Haha, whoops.
Pop.
And folks, that is how issue 1 ends.
Yeah, man. Issue 2, let's get right into it, right?
Issue 2, in my opinion, has the sickest cover of the 3 issues.
So the one here in the trade, it's only showing one cover, as opposed to issue 1, and it is Kara and Superman sort of in action pose, surprised action pose, as 4 or 5 xenomorphs are descending upon them, and everything is sort of, the xenomorphs in the background are all shaded red.
Yeah, that's the cover. I think that looks really cool. I like it a lot. I mean, the other 2 covers are good, but of the 3, this is my personal favorite. I
do not like this as much as the issue 1 covers, but it is pretty solid. I think the covers across the board are pretty solid.
I agree. I will agree with that. Yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because again, that's not to say that the other 2 are bad. It's just of the 3, this one is my personal favorite is all.
Yeah.
So the ship comes back to Lexport and lands.
We're picking up on Lexport.
Yep. It lands, and the dude that gave birth to a chest burster is dead, and there's a big hole in his chest. Interesting. And we also find out that after the ship landed, the entire hangar sealed itself off and prevented anyone from coming in for 10 minutes while quarantine procedures went by. This is important because when they open the ship, there is not a xenomorph in it, even though this guy died via a chest burster. And so that was their way of writing out of the corner of, well, when the ship lands, why didn't they find a xenomorph right away? That's why.
Yep. And there's some damage to the controls in here, and they're like, well, maybe the guy hit the controls and that busted his stomach open. And then Lois Lane is like, I got to take a look at this. And she's like, there's no way the controls did this. And ew, what's this gross shit in here? And she finds like some goo.
Yeah, and while she's looking at the goo, there is a xenomorph standing in the shadow of the corner of the room, staring at her.
Meanwhile, back on Argo,
Argo.
a very nice full page image here of Kara leading Suit Cal. We'll call him Cal because he introduced himself as Cal, right? Because he thinks she's Kryptonian.
He does, yes. Yep. Yeah, he calls himself Cal while he's on Argo, yeah.
Through like an industrial area, you know, like we see like where sewer pipes or something are exiting, tall arches in red. I like the art on this page. We haven't spoken much about the artwork in general, so we should probably talk a little bit about some of it. This is a nice page spread here. And the xenomorphs look pretty good in this book.
They do. The art in general looks good. And like, you know, since this is an alien podcast, I would like to point out the xenomorphs do look good.
Yes.
Yeah, the art is definitely more than serviceable. I don't think it's the absolute top tier best art we've ever seen so far in the show.
It is
but
not. No.
I do think the art is very good. Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna come up with some pages that I like, but I want to talk about. All right.
So Kara leads Cal to a med bay and like put some shit on his eyes to like make him be able to see again. And while they're talking, she basically gives him the rundown on what happened to Argo City. Basically, while it was floating around, it says here, I think she said it's 8 years ago.
Yes.
A ship crash landed outside of the city. So like, because like, you know, the city's floating around and it's got the dome on it, but there's like parts of the land extending out beyond the dome. It doesn't just stop where the dome is, you know? And so like the land outside of the dome, a ship crash landed into it. And by this point, they had already started running out of supplies and they were like, about to start like, you know, rioting or things like that because they were like, you know, desperately low of like food and supplies and stuff.
Yeah.
And the 8 years ago, the ship crashes just outside of the city. And unfortunately, there was a queen and a whole bunch of eggs in cryo on the ship. And so they went in there and basically stripped it of supplies and went, all right, no one else is allowed to go in here. Period. But then a little while later, some jackass went in there and he saw the queen and he's like, oh yeah, that thing's dead. I bet it'll give us a whole lot of food. So he unthaws the queen, which promptly kills him. And that's how the xenomorphs got out and killed everyone in Argo City.
I love that he's like, I bet I could eat her. I bet I could eat that.
Yeah.
That looks delicious.
Yeah, somebody went out there and woke him up, and then they do a scene that I've gone on record before as hating, where we get explained the life cycle and birth cycle of a xenomorph. However, I think it's justified in this case. It needs to happen because Kara tells Cal how they birth, and then immediately Cal goes, oh no, I sent 4 of those guys back to Earth. Oh no, Lois is gonna die.
Oh fuck, I gotta get a spaceship. We gotta get back there now.
And she's like, are you fucking stupid? If we had a spaceship, we would have left by now. And he goes, oh fuck.
You dumbass. All right. So before we go too far ahead, I like, in terms of page design, these pages where Kara is telling the story of what happened to Argo, and she's sitting in the middle of these panels that are all sort of at Dutch angles, and they're all, you know, she's rendered in full color, and they're all rendered in red behind her. It's a pretty cool design choice. I really like it.
Yeah, it's a fun way to make what is essentially a monologue visually interesting, you know?
It makes the way she's relaying the information, the vagueness that it would show up in, like the vagueness of the detail in the panels. It's like the way that Clark is imagining these things as he's hearing them, you know?
Yeah, because again, he thinks that they're like Kryptonian, you know?
Right.
And so he's picturing all of that stuff as well. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just, it's a cool, I don't know. I just like it. And they don't do a lot of that kind of stuff in this story. So it was just a series of pages that stuck out to me. And I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. And we're going to get another cool spread in this issue pretty soon here. Another cool page anyway.
Well, let's see. At this point, we cut back to Earth.
Oh, wait, we're going to get it right now.
Oh, yeah, we cut back to Earth, and a second survivor hatches their chest burster, and Kimball is watching it and makes the classic Alien Universe mistake of going, luckily it's really small, so it's not a threat to us. We don't need to worry about it. It's fine. And like doesn't worry about it when the chest burster escapes after coming out.
The full page chest burster coming out of the guy looks really good.
It sure does.
And then it's just sort of curled up on his chest, and then makes a break for it. And Kimball's like, yeah, big deal. Won't be much of a threat.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see, Kimball.
Let's see. We cut back to Argo, and something really funny happens. They hear gunfire, and Kara goes, oh no, that must be coming from the box, the one place in Argo City where we can like defend and where the survivors are.
Yes.
And Cal is like, oh, we should go there. And she goes, oh, it's like an hour's run away. We're not going to be able to get there anytime soon. And he goes, don't worry, I can fly us there. And he flies them there. And my question is, if it's an hour's run away, how the hell did they hear that gunfire from where they are?
You know, the acoustics inside the dome, it bounced off and it, reflected, and it's like
that's fair.
Like an amphitheater,
That's a good point, because at this point the dome hasn't broken yet. That's right, I forgot. So yeah, basically Cal picks up Kara and flies them there, and I think there's like a box that says that they get there in like less than 5 minutes. So apparently flying is faster than running still, even though he's still in the process of getting his powers sapped. So
I got to ask you, does this mean that they've been outside of the dome the whole time? Because they fly in over top of the xenomorphs. I can't.
No, they wouldn't be outside of the dome because Clark,
they're
Cal,
not wearing space. They're not wearing spacesuits, but I guess he didn't when he landed anyway, right?
He didn't, but also remember there was that scene where he tunneled underneath the wall to get into the dome from underneath.
Right. Which is
so as far as I know, they're in the dome. So
yeah, I can't tell. It doesn't make much sense to me. I couldn't tell if they were inside the dome this whole time or outside of it, or if they've now gone. Are the xenomorphs attacking from inside the dome to this box? Or is this whole thing taking place inside there? Are the xenomorphs trying to get inside? Because when we see the dome break later...
Shit, that's a good point, because she's like, oh yeah, there's gunfire at the box because they're getting attacked by xenomorphs. And then afterwards, the dome breaks and they're like, oh no, the dome is broken. Now the xenomorphs can get in. Yeah. Shit, that's a good point. I didn't even fucking think about that.
So another one of the things that bugs that I just... Anyway.
I didn't even realize that until you pointed it out right now. Shit, that is a great fucking point.
So, but also my favorite line in this book, when he lands with her, she tells Superman, she says, find a gun and start blasting, Cal, blow those buggers to hell. And he's like, kill them? He's heard what they can do. He's seen what they can do. She told them what they did. She told them their life cycle. He knows what's going to happen to Lois on this space station. We did miss a page here. That's all right. We'll talk about it.
Well, that's part of the reason why they emphasize so much earlier that he's like, I've killed once and I'm never going to be willing to do it again, period.
Right.
Because she's like, start blasting him. And he's like, kill him? Absolutely not. I don't fucking kill anything.
I've moved us forward in my anger about the geography in this line. While he's flying her over there, we get this brief jump back to LexCorp. This was a part I liked, to the LexPort, where Lois is talking to a guy who was checking over the shuttle, right? And he's like, the computer records are going to tell us everything that happened in the ship. And she's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, we'll soon know all about it. And she's like, all right, well, how long until the ship is repaired? Because we got to send this back to Superman so he can get back here. And the guy's like, oh, and we see what could to a noob be maybe a chest burster about to burst out of the guy, but to like a hardcore fan like us, we know that that's a xenomorph tail pushing through the guy's
Yep, it sure is.
chest. And then we see a great shot of a xenomorph screeking, not screeing, lifting this guy up, impaled on its tail, while Lois is just like freaking out. She can't talk. She literally is like the text literally says can't talk. The words won't come. Legs frozen. Can't move. Can't run. What are you? And then she's face to face with a xenomorph, much like Ripley so many times.
Yep.
Now is when we cut back to Argo City, and Superman's like, what do you mean you want me to kill these things that have wiped out your entire city and are going to kill Lois?
And while he's debating with Kara about how he's not going to kill any of them,
He picks up a gun, holds it, and then throws it. And he's like, no.
Yeah, he picks it up and he's like, oh yeah, this will probably do the job of killing these things. And he's like, actually, you know what? And just tosses it aside and then gets attacked by one. And while he's wrestling with it, Kara gets choked out by the tail of one of them, and he runs over and rips off its tail, tossing it aside, and like it collapses on the ground, and he thinks to himself, haha, I beat this one because I knocked it into unconsciousness. And I'm like, bro, xenomorphs don't fall unconscious.
I know. This irritated the fuck out of me too. He's like, see, I did it and I didn't have to kill it. And I'm like, motherfucker, you did nothing.
And then after that, it cuts back to Lexport, and Lois is getting attacked by that xenomorph, so she climbs into the ship. And then this part, I understood, like, storyline-wise what was happening, but the geography of the way the panels were drew made me not understand what was happening. I understand what was supposed to be going on, but what they were telling me was happening was not the same as what the panels were visually depicting as happening.
Right.
So basically, there is a scene where she climbs into the LexCorp ship that the survivors came back on.
Yeah.
And because it's the only way to go, or it's the only place to go to get away from the xenomorph that's attacking her. And so the ship seals up and she just starts pressing random buttons. And one of them accidentally opens the airlock and starts sucking the ship out of the airlock, which the xenomorph is on. And while it's getting out of the air, or while it's about to come out of the airlock, the xenomorph gets knocked off and sucked into space. And then Dr. Kimball closes the airlock, trapping the ship back in the hangar while the xenomorph floats away. Mm-hmm. That is what the narrative tells you happens.
Yeah.
But the actual panels of the comic depict the alien and the ship flying out of the hangar before the airlock closes. But then in the next panel, we see like the airlock close as the ship smashes against it, and then it falls to the floor of the hangar. And I was like, that previous panel showed it coming out of the hangar. Yeah. So I don't know what's going on here.
It is hard to follow. So the airlock gate, we'll call it, is it's an energy gate. Like just for the listener who isn't following along with their copy of Superman versus Aliens issue number 2. So what happens is the wing of the ship gets stuck out, and that's what the xenomorph is on. And then the gate gets closed and it severs that wing.
Okay.
So the xenomorph falls away and a bunch of that ship's rubble falls away. And then if you see where the LexCorp ship is lodged in the edge of the dock, like up against the airlock door, it's missing its wing. It's up at the top instead of like at the bottom where maybe it should be. The ship's orientation is wrong. But I was the same as you. I was like, what the fuck is going on with these panels?
Yeah, because there is one panel that definitely shows it on the other side of the airlock wall, like the gate, while it's closing, and then suddenly in the next panel it's inside the hangar, and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's just the wing sticking out, and it is very, very confusing. I had to look at it a few times as well.
It's not drawn very well. The perspective isn't great. So the way they drew it, it makes it look like the entire ship is on the other side of the gate as it's closing. But anyway, the point is that the xenomorph gets blown out and the ship gets damaged, so they can't send it back to Argo City to rescue Superman. So basically he's just on his own now.
Yes. And Kimball, right? She wanted to close the airlock because she wants the specimen. She wants the grown xenomorph as a specimen. So when Lois she's safe and she's out of the ship and she's still on board the Lexport space station, she's like, why did they close the airlock? Did they do it to save me? Or did Kimball do it because she wanted the alien? That seems like something she'd do. Of course yeah. I mean, I'm not mocking Lois Lane. She's the smartest person in this comic book.
Easily, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, they just really rapidly introduced the idea that suddenly Kimball wants the alien specimen now also, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it makes sense. However, up to this point in the comic, that had never been mentioned. So while the motivation is reasonable, it does come out of nowhere because none of that was hinted at even like earlier. So
yeah. Did we pass the part where Kimball was talking about? No, this happens in issue 3, I think.
This is the point where, when we cut back to Argo, this is the point where Clark had the very funny look I was talking about earlier, where he has the underpants and the boots and one pant leg, and that's it. He's missing all of the rest of his clothes.
His bottom
really funny look that made me laugh.
The bottom, he's wearing the bottom half of Rainmaker's outfit from Gen 13.
That's right.
Yeah.
And him and Kara team up to blow up a bunch of xenomorphs. So I guess he doesn't have a problem killing them now, but he tosses a grenade belt into the air.
Yes.
And then she shoots it and it blows up a whole bunch of xenomorphs. And
that's got the whole like bullshit Batman Begins. I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you loophole. Like I'm just throwing this grenade. She's the one who blew it up.
Now, to be fair, I think the implication is that they weren't doing it on purpose. He picked up that grenade belt because one of them was leaking something and he tossed it aside just to get it away because he didn't want to get blown up by it. And then Kara's like, aha, good idea. And then shoots it while it's in midair. I think that's the implication they're going for.
Maybe. I don't know.
But anyway, it's very funny to think of a grenade having a leak in it.
it is. The narration here is his because it's all been fighting for almost an hour. There's no sign of letting up. And then after that move, it says a perfect knockout punch. And then there's too many. Retreat is our only option. So like, I think it's his narration, unless it's hers.
But yeah, at this point we find out that I keep calling him Clark in my notes, although he's actually going, as you pointed out, he's going by Cal at this point in the comic. But Clark and Kara, and as I wrote in my notes, some guy, capital S, capital G, are the only survivors. Clark picks the two of them up and starts, at this point, I don't even think he's flying. I think this is the point where he's starting to leap really high.
Yes.
Because he can't fly anymore.
Tall buildings in a single bound. Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, gotta save this guy, don't want this guy to die. And then the guy immediately dies.
Yeah. So at least 3 people died in that firefight.
Yeah.
And now one more guy dies.
And then after he dies, he puts the two of them down on top of this, building in Argo or whatever. And Kara starts freaking out. And she, if I recall correctly, I believe she threatens suicide by xenomorph, I think, at this point. I think she's just like, oh, just let him fucking come and kill me. I'll just lie here and let him kill me. I don't care anymore. I think something like that happens at this point.
She says,
and then
don't you dare leave me. I don't want to be the last one. I've been fighting. I just want to, I feel like I'm 100. Let them come for me. I don't care anymore. All I want to do is sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, she says she wants to sleep for a while, and so Clark's like, all right, I'll keep watch, and he jumps up to like this big like water tower or whatever nearby, and while he's standing there, the dome breaks, xenomorphs start pouring in, and then at the same time, the entire city just explodes.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. And so
it was a load-bearing dome.
I guess so. And so he goes, yikes, and then falls, and then a whole bunch of rubble lands on him. And he ends up getting overwhelmed by a whole mob of xenomorphs, and then wakes up suspended upside down in an egg chamber right in front of an ovomorph, which opens up and face hugs him.
The end.
Yeah, that is the end of issue 2.
Right. Well, that was the end of the series.
I'd laugh.
Yeah, no, that's the end of the issue. Yeah, Kara saw him fall, right? Mm-hmm. And like shouted out for him.
I actually wrote in my notes here, he falls off a tower while the city explodes and the rubble collapses on him and Kara, because the way it was drawn implied that. And so I just assumed that. We find out later that is not the case. And she was not down there with him when the rubble fell on him.
So are you ready for the exciting conclusion to this intergalactic Superman saga?
I sure am. And the first bit of excitement that I have written in my notes is I literally wrote alert, blue mist on the cover.
Yeah, man. This is my favorite cover, which is a shirtless, a mostly clothesless Superman, shirtless Superman at the very least, tearing through that blue mist, surrounded again by ovomorphs to go punch a fucking queen.
Yep, he sure is. It rocks.
Man. Yeah, it's a good cover. But we don't open there. We open back on Lexport.
Yep. And Lois is hauling ass through the space station while trying to find Kimball, who is watching the last 2 survivors give birth to chest bursters.
Mm-hmm. And here is another screw up. Mm-hmm. As she is watching the last 2 survivors, Erg and Og and Pain, and get ready to deliver the xenomorph babies. Mm-hmm. She's talking about the creatures, and she's like, they'll grow to life forms that are nearly invulnerable. Even their blood has acidic properties we can use. And she's talking about how great they are. A little later on, she's going to come in conflict with one of these xenomorphs, and it's going to bleed on her, and she's going to be like, oh my God, is that acid? And she's going to be all surprised about it.
Yeah, when you said that, I realized, how would she know?
Yeah.
How does she know any of that? How is she aware of the xenomorph's birthing and life cycle at all?
Yeah. Yeah. Just, it's one of those things where like Dan Jurgens is just taking it for granted that everybody knows these things, right? These details. Yeah. That seems to be a detail that slips by constantly. The idea that people know about the acidic blood, right?
Yep.
At least she didn't know about like the pheromones like that dude in Steel Egg did.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, because we, the reader, even if we know nothing about xenomorphs, we know they have acid blood because Superman got splashed by some earlier. But the only way she would know they have acid blood is if she's reading the comic book along with us.
Yes. And the only xenomorph she's seen in action is the one that escaped on the ship. Yep. That was birthed inside the shuttle.
Yeah. Because
there's
like
two.
The
there's
adult,
2 loose, right?
Well, there's 2 of them. There was the adult one that got out first during the 10 minutes the ship was quarantined.
Yes.
And then the second one that gave birth during one of the montage cutscenes earlier, and then she's watching the last two give birth right now, which means, yeah, not only does she not know they would have acid blood because no one has been attacked, or sorry, no one has attacked a xenomorph yet.
Right.
But she also like wouldn't know that they grow to full size because she hasn't seen the full-grown xenomorph yet.
Well, she saw the one that attacked Lois in the hangar bay.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
but-
Which is, I believe, the same one that attacks her right now.
Right. She didn't see it get hurt. No, it's not. I'm sorry, Kenny. It's not. Because that one got blown out of the hangar bay. We saw
Oh yeah, that's right. Shit, that's right.
Yeah.
Fuck, I forgot about that.
Guys,
So yes, this
guys,
yeah,
it's late. Forgive us both. We're losing track of how many xenomorphs are on Lexport and who's attacking what. We're tired. But what we both know is that there's no way she knew these things had acid blood at this point.
That's correct. That is for sure.
Yeah. I was with you though. I was like, she's gonna get her comeuppance from that one that she was trying to hold on to, and then I was like, wait, no, she's not, because that one got blown out of the fucking airlock by Lois Lane.
I knew that there were two of them, and right now she's about to get attacked by a full-grown one, but I couldn't remember. But since I forgot that one of them got blown out of an airlock, I didn't know if it was the first or the second one that shows up right now. But it doesn't matter because the other one's gone now. Good point.
Yes. Also, folks, we had some technical difficulties and had to stop down for a few minutes because of my internet. So yeah, we're basically starting over again for the night.
Basically, Lois tries to reason with Kimball that she should just kill him and not keep him. But as it turns out, Kimball has the same feelings about xenomorphs that Wayland Yutani does, that she should keep them and weaponize them.
Yeah, she's horny for him. So Lois Lane grabs the hairspray and the matches
and goes in there and burns both of the chest bursters and the people they just came out of. And Kimball's like, what the fuck? And then punches her and pulls a gun on her.
Yeah, dude. This was a good scene. I don't know that it was hairspray, guys. It was something aerosol. But
yeah, it was an aerosol can. So
the panel of the two chest bursters popping out simultaneously is pretty sick. Twins. We had twins happen in Steel Egg too, didn't we? On board the CANC ship.
We sure did.
Yeah.
The two guys that tried to perform abdominal surgery on themselves. Yeah.
And then I love the homemade flamethrower. I love the everything. And then bam. Yeah. Kimball pulls a gun on Lois, but we can see in the background big bad xenomorph sneaking around the corner. But
then we cut back to Argo, and Clark's facehugger has already fallen off, and then Kara again comes in with a flamethrower to save him for the second time so far in this comic.
Yes, and
burns him out of the resin, and then immediately realize that he is infected with a queen chest burster.
Yes. Because none of the xenomorphs will get near him because they don't want to hurt him. When he awakens in the hive and he's upside down, and then we get the full page spread where he's kind of sideways at an angle, and the xenomorphs are kind of all angles around him. Really good disorienting panels showing like he was like nested in here upside down or something.
Yeah, he was in there upside down, and like I was talking about earlier with like the whole like the hangar and gate thing, the perspective on this page of him hanging upside down, the perspective is really weird, but it works to the story's benefit rather than detriment, because you're supposed to, feel the way Clark's feeling where he's like, whoa, what the fuck is going on, and be all disoriented and stuff.
Yeah.
So the weird Dutch angle of him hanging upside down actually really works really well.
Yeah, very, very effective in this instance. But yeah. So he's like, they realize like, oh, you must have a queen in you because they're not getting near you. So he's like, okay, well, they're gonna fuck you up if you get too far away. So just stay real close to me. Oh, she also noticed marks on his face, right? That's how she could kind of tell.
Yeah, that's how she initially figured out that he must have been infected by one of these, because she notices the marks on his face. Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm going to survive this. Just get me near a sun and I'll be fine. I got special abilities. And then she's like, man, you're such an optimist. What the hell is going on? And he's like, come on, you're more of an optimist than you seem. Otherwise, you wouldn't have like stepped into that hive to save me, right?
Yeah, this is another moment that feels extremely classic Superman to me, where he has like a little mini monologue where he's all like, "Oh, you keep acting so fucking jaded and cynical, but like if you didn't believe that we could hope that tomorrow was going to come for me, then you wouldn't have bothered coming in to rescue me. So you are optimistic and hopeful too, even though you're trying to act like you're not." And she's just like,
right. And she's like, actually, I just don't want to die. I'm hoping you can help me and get me out of here because I don't want to die here. And this is when we see the face marks on her.
Yeah, and then Clark pieces together that, oh, she must be infected too. And he's like, well, it's fine. We're both Kryptonians, so like once we get us out to a sun, we'll be powerful enough to survive it. And she looks at him and she's like, motherfucker, you think I'm Kryptonian? And he's like, you are though. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? And this is where we find out that Argo City is not from Krypton.
You speak Kryptonese. That's the language. Kryptonese, not Kryptonian or whatever I've been calling it.
Yeah, I've been calling it Kryptonian too. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
Address your letters to Danny at the Next Issue podcast.
Yeah, for not telling us this. But anyway.
You know what? Send them to Bob at the Flock podcast. Send one of the voicemails into them.
Yeah, send him into Bob and get mad at him about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny though, because this is literally what I wrote in my notes. I wrote, anyway, turns out Kara is also infected. And in a really funny twist, turns out Kara isn't. I forgot to write Kryptonian in my notes.
But also Kara isn't. So this is, according to the DC fandom wiki, this Kara is the official is the Kara of New Earth. Like, was the Kara, like they invented this Kara to be like a substitute for Kara Zor-El.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is this universe's version of Kara Zor-El, yes.
But not Kryptonian, not from a different city named after the city on Krypton. Because they were visited by a spacefarer, a cleric who like spread the news of Krypton.
Yeah, this gets into a whole other thing. This involves this character named Cleric, who is from like a Superman annual from a few years before. And basically, Cleric is this guy who was flying like a whole bunch, like thousands of Kryptonians away before the planet got destroyed.
Yeah.
And as he got away from the planet, discovered that all Kryptonians are genetically not engineered, but like in their just DNA.
Yeah.
If they get physically too far away from the physical planet of Krypton, they die. And so Kara is surprised that Clark is Kryptonian because she's like, I thought Kryptonians died if they left the planet. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so she tells him this story about Cleric. And then they imply that the reason Clark was able to get off the planet was because his parents genetically modified him so that wouldn't kill him. And I was reading this going, this is the first time I've ever heard of this storyline.
Yeah, because again, this is that era where they were like, no, just the one Kryptonian. That's it.
Yeah, they had to come up with a reason why Clark could be the only Kryptonian that exists. And so they're like, I don't know, what if it kills you to leave the planet, I guess?
Yeah, and the reason Clark could leave is because Jor-El developed a cure and gave it to him and only him and didn't care about saving anyone else or didn't try to save anyone else or...
That is correct, yes.
Not to put that, I mean, I'm sure he would have if he could, but like, the planet blew up. What was he going to do, right? Like,
but anyway, the gist of it is that Cleric had left Krypton with all these Kryptonians, and then they all died. And so he landed on the planet that Argo City is from, like several 100,000 years before when the comic takes place. And basically showed up with all these Kryptonian bodies and told them the story of how heroic they are and what their sacrifice meant, and buried all of their bodies on this planet. And so all of the native people of the planet were like, oh, wow, these people were so great and so honorable. And so they started to like look up to them and revere them, to the point where several 100,000 years later, they like basically have taken on and like become a new Krypton, so to speak. Like they worship the Kryptonians, use the same society as them, speak the same language as them. And so that's why Clark thought that probe was speaking Kryptonian, because it actually was. It's just they're like Kryptonian fanboys, not actually from Krypton itself.
Exactly. It's dumb.
It is extremely unnecessary because it doesn't mean or change anything. You could just have it be from Krypton. It's fine, because since there's xenomorphs in it, it's not gonna be canon anyway to the mainline comic. So just have it fucking be from Krypton. Who cares?
But again, they're referencing something canon in this. So if anyone is interested, Action Comics Annual number 2 is this story of the cleric. All right.
Yep.
Clark in this calls it one of the greatest adventures of his life when he encounters him. All right, whatever.
And of course, it is a storyline that I had never heard of before until I read this comic. I had never even heard of the cleric before until he suddenly showed up, and I immediately went, all right, I'm putting everything on hold to look up and see who this MF is, because I have never fucking heard. There is no way it's one of Clark's greatest adventures of his life when I've never even heard of this guy.
I bet Dan Jurgens wrote it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I contemplated reading it. I didn't even check to see if it's on like DC Universe Infinite. I contemplated reading it if it was on there, but I didn't get that far. I was like, why? What's that going to change or do for me? Right? Like
it's because Cleric gets mentioned as a cameo in like 2 panels of this comic. Reading that comic will not give us any additional context for what's going on.
Right. Versus like the story where he kills the Kryptonians, which is where they introduce the Lex. I think it's the Lex Luthor, the Matrix Supergirl.
Yeah.
Again, where Supergirl was like not a Kryptonian. Just the weird shit that they were doing at this time.
Yeah, because
I don't
to have other Kryptonian characters and make them not be Kryptonian, because like when this comic came out, it came out a year before or a year after the end of like a Supergirl comic that ran for several years, but that Supergirl is not the Supergirl we know of. It's like a brand new, it's not even Kara, it's a new different character that just took on the name Supergirl and is otherwise unrelated. They're
doing so much work to not have other Kryptonians exist, and then they pull this shit where they pull a bait and switch. They're teasing the idea that Kara Zor-El could be back. This could be the return of Kara Zor-El in the post-crisis universe. This could be her introduction, even if it's an Elseworlds version or something like, which I guess it kind of is, but not really, because it's not. It's a different planet, it's a different culture, it's different all of this kind of shit. It's not the same character, right? But they're teasing all of this shit for it to then like for the twist to be that it's not actually her. So the twist in issue 1 is like, oh my god, it's Kara, and then the twist in issue 3 is like, psych.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, not that Superman even knows who Kara is, because if I recall, I believe the end of Crisis of Infinite Earths is everyone forgets she ever existed in the first place.
Yeah, this Superman does not know who she is, right?
Yeah.
But the reader knows, right? So like they're pulling the prank on us, on you and me. And
they sure are.
Tom. Shout out to Tom. You got your shout out for the week, Tom. All right.
Yep. Yeah, we shouted out Danny, we shouted out Bob. Now it's time to shout out Tom.
Yeah. It's just not. It's just, I don't know. I just didn't like it, and just to see the work that they're doing at this time to like make sure other Kryptonian shit doesn't exist. It's just silly.
To me, the one thing that I think is dumb is there is no reason to make it not actually be from Krypton. Like, that doesn't serve the story at all. Because, like, again, since this is a comic where Superman is fighting fucking xenomorphs, no one is going to think that this comic is canon to mainline Superman. So people reading this comic are not going to go, oh my God, they just fucking reintroduced Supergirl. I don't believe it. People are going to be like, oh, this is like the variant, like this universe's equivalent of Supergirl. Right. No one is going to think this is how they bring Supergirl back to the DC universe. Yeah. So just make it be from Krypton. It's not going to change anything because no one is expecting this comic to be canon anyway.
Anyway, Supergirl coming to theaters next year, I think.
I think so, yeah.
All right.
And
but we're an alien podcast, so let's get back to some more alien stuff.
We're getting on with it. But yeah, basically, Clark tells Kara that don't worry, he'll take her to Earth and then figure out a way to heal her there. And then they decide to go out and find the ship that 8 years prior had originally crashed outside of Argo, that the Queen and all the Ovos were in cryo on. They're going to go to that ship and see if they can fly it out, or if not, find like a lander or an escape pod in there.
Oh, we missed an important thing. Did we talk about how the way that Kara got into the hive where Cal was with teleporting technology that they did find from that ship in the first place, that the culture
I did not mention that. Yes, I forgot to mention that. Yes, she literally does teleport in with a piece of tech, and that's important because they're going to be using teleport tech later on in this issue. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
It's part of their plan to go back here is like maybe that teleporting stuff, or maybe there's something that we scavenged that they didn't find, or who knows what.
Yeah.
But they noticed that the air is getting thin also, that the atmosphere, with the dome collapsing, the atmosphere processors, I'll call them, I don't think that's the word they use, are not functioning. So they got to get spacesuits, right?
They sure do.
And as they suit up, Kara gives Cal the torn S from his Superman suit that she found out in the wreckage somewhere, which...
And he wears it as an armband, like how everyone was wearing a black armband after Superman died.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a nice touch, actually. I like that.
Yeah.
But also, the S didn't get fully torn like this, so it's not very accurate. But whatever. Guy.
Well, it's funny to me that when the xenomorph clawed him in the chest, it clawed him in the chest in such a way where it perfectly ripped off the S without damaging the actual design at all. Because when he ties it onto his arm, it's just the logo.
I know it doesn't work, but whatever. We're not going to get hung up on that detail.
Yeah,
of all the things.
That kind of stuff doesn't matter. I just thought it was funny when I noticed it.
Yeah.
They put on some spacesuits and head out
in spacesuits, and they look kind of dope.
And then they get cornered by a whole huge mess of xenomorphs. And then it cuts back to Lexport after.
I like the way that they get past the xenomorphs is they run a giant vehicle out to distract them, and then take a hover bike. Like a flying motorcycle out to the wreckage.
They sure do.
And then they drop down a giant pit into where the ship's going to be. And then they're just immediately like surrounded by xenomorphs. But then, as you said, we cut to Lexport.
Yep. And Lois is chopping it up with Kimball, who gets attacked by that Xeno that you mentioned earlier. But he manages to escape, though, even though Lois shoots it point blank in the face with that gun. I don't think it kills him, and then he still runs away anyway, if I
Right.
recall how that happens.
So
yeah.
So she shoots the thing with Lois gets the gun. Kimball's like, help me, and Lois is like, why? But then she's like, you know what? I'm not a bad guy. I'm tempted, but I'm not gonna do that. So she shoots the xenomorph, plugs a couple into it. The acid splashes on Kimball's arm, and then she grabs Kimball and they run away, and she fires behind her, holding the thing off. And this is where Kimball's like, oh, my arm, it feels like acid. And she's surprised by that fact, even though she just talked about the fact that they have acid.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it was, I believe it might have been either... it was the beginning of this issue, but in the timeline of the comic, it was literally like seconds ago that she said, aha, they have acid blood.
And it would have been like minutes ago, like 2 minutes ago for us, like reading wise, it was not long ago. It would have been 2 minutes ago for us if we hadn't gotten hung up on Krypton.
Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't matter though. But
anyway,
but yeah, on Argo, Cal and Kara arrive at the ship, and the Queen is there, and Kara basically goes, fuck this, and burns all of the Ovos with her flamethrower.
Yeah, she goes Ripley mode in Aliens, right?
Yep.
And they still don't attack her or Cal. They're still letting him walk around with the Queen inside him, even though she just torched.
Yeah, I guess making sure that a new queen survives is even more important than their regular young, I guess.
Is this this is the Queen, right?
Yeah, as far as I know, yeah.
Like when Cal woke up in the other place, was there a queen there too?
As far as I know, I thought there was only the one queen.
No, there is. There's two queens in this. That's pretty rad. I just flipped back and there's definitely a queen. Oh,
it like in the room where he got nested up in.
Yeah. So there's two queens,
cool.
two hives in this. That's kind of dope.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's one in the city, and because there would have been, because when he because there was the one on the ship, the one he's meeting now that was in cryo. Right. And then the one that...
a new one in the city.
Of course, again, that goes back to the original point we were talking about earlier. Why did they have to wait until the dome broke open for all the xenomorphs to get in when there was already a queen and a hive inside the city? Because in issue 1, Clark tunnels into where the nest was.
I know. I yeah.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're already like halfway done with the last issue. It doesn't matter. We don't need to worry about it. This comic is 30 years old. It's fine.
Jesus, it is, isn't it? Fuck me.
Yeah,
all right.
1995, baby. But where were we in the notes? Yeah, she just burned all the eggs.
Burns all the egg, and she's like, "Can you scan for stuff?" And he's like, "Oh, fine, I'll force it. My powers are almost totally shot," which means he's basically just human now.
Yeah, they don't outright state, but they kind of imply that he has to like strain so hard to use his like hypervision that it's like they kind of imply he's using the rest of his superpowers to be able to do it.
Right.
Although he still has a little bit left over later, but he basically has to use pretty much the rest of his juice to be able to pinpoint some escape pods on like a lower portion of the ship that like didn't get destroyed in the wreck, and he sees 2 escape pods there and he's like, aha.
They didn't get destroyed, they didn't get scavenged. They're transportation pods. They're like the teleportation things.
Yeah.
That like the one that Kara, the personal teleporter that Kara used to get into the hive. But he's like, yeah, no one ever found these because this whole deck got blocked off in the crash. So it's like there's still power and everything down there, which is crazy. But hey, whatever. It's only been 8 years.
It has only been 8 years. That's true.
Back on
Lexport.
There's some nerds messing with the gyroscope of the space station.
Yep, there sure is. And then a xenomorph comes in and kills the nerds, which causes a chain reaction that blows Lexport out of axis.
So-
and so it starts sinking into the atmosphere of the planet.
It's literally a big green glowing ball, right?
It sure is. Yes, that is correct.
And we see a xenomorph open the grate, and like we see its grinning mouth and its hand like pushing the grate open.
And it like comes down from the ceiling at this dude, and he's just like rattling on, and then he looks up and he's like, and then the xenomorph just gets him.
And then it takes the other guy and throws him into the gyro, shattering it. With the batteries wide open, it'll blow, and then it blows, and now the ship is falling out of the space station is falling out of orbit. It's just immediately upside down in the next panel.
Yep. And as that is correct. And as that explosion is happening, we see Argo City also just straight up blowing up.
Yes. Man, what a time.
And so they find the pods, and then Clark gives this extremely insane plan that I did not understand at all, and I understand even less now than I did when we read it. He said that they find the pods, but the only way they can use them to get out is by blowing up the ship to flip it over and let the escape jettison tubes point out into the sky. And I was like, blowing up the ship is not going to flip it over. It's just going to blow it up, first off. And second off, as you're pointing out, since they're teleport pods, not escape pods, it doesn't matter where they're aimed because they're not physically traversing an area.
Yeah, I'm confused by this. Yeah. Because there's an escape pod. We see an escape pod behind Kara. That'll come into play later. The jettison tube is jammed. The only way to get this pod out of here is to blow up the ship so it turns over and clears the path. They're just trying to get a path clear, I guess, because he's not strong enough to do it himself, because he's not Superman anymore. He's just man. Right?
Yeah. Right.
Excuse me. Oof. What are the odds I edited that out? We'll find out. So he's going to like blow the power core to do it. But like,
yeah, he says that the power core needs to be blown and he's going to go do it. But Kara's like, I actually know how to do it, so I should be the one to go do it. And he's like, all right, well, fine. You go do that. I'll move all the debris out of the way so that we can get to the pods and actually use them, I guess. And so they come up with this plan to basically, once she goes to the core and activates everything, rather than running back, he's going to teleport her back here. And then while she's here, the two of them, I believe, unless I'm misunderstanding the plan, I think the plan is to teleport her back here, and then after both of them are here, they physically get into an escape pod and leave.
Yeah, that's what I understand too.
I don't think they're going to use the teleportation pods to leave. I think they're just going to use them to get back here and then physically jettison out in a regular escape pod, I believe is their plan.
Yeah. Yes.
So she runs off. He starts clearing out the debris. Then when he does, the chest burster starts to come out of him.
Yeah, he starts getting a little tummy ache. Oh no, he can't. Oh, and then Kara's ready to get teleported back, and he's like, "Oh wait, I figured something out. Kara, just stay in the teleporter pod." This I thought was actually kind of sick because remember, she's been implanted also, and he's been like worried about how he's going to help her out since she's not Kryptonian.
I thought this was really clever too. She gets in the teleporter pod and he's like, hold on, I got a plan. Don't move, punches in a few things. And then the teleporter like starts to get wavy, like right over like her chest abdomen area. Like it starts to teleport her and then it doesn't work. And she goes, Clark, fuck, it's still, Cal, it didn't work. What are we going to do? And then he's like, don't move. I'm about to do something else. And then just as he's about to hit the button, the queen comes by and bursts open the teleporter pod, knocking her out.
Yeah.
Well, knocking her out of the pod
doesn't
knock her unconscious. It knocks her out of the pod.
And then Clark's like, oh God, I gotta go. I gotta help her. But I'm in so much pain. Oh no, the pod's starting to move. That means the whole thing's gonna blow.
And so he immediately has to climb into the escape pod, and it jettisons off right as Argo City is completely blown up.
Yeah, and he flies close enough to a sun that his powers return.
It blasts into hyperspace and then drops him out right outside of Earth. And then he opens up the pod because, he starts to get the power from the sun. And then he bursts out of the pod because now he's Superman and has his powers again. And then he does something that I don't quite 100% understand. But I think what happens is, as the chest burster is actively trying to come out of him, now that he's Superman again, he uses his superpowered abdominal muscles to crush the xenomorph into paste and then spits the paste out into space.
Yeah, remember when I was theorizing about what would happen if Ben Grimm, the Thing, had a chest burster inside him? Mm-hmm. Well, now we know what would happen if Superman had a chest burster inside him. At least we know that it would be it would not be able to survive his awesome muscles and dense structure, and then he would just squish it into paste and regurgitate it out of his mouth, which is literally the word he uses.
So basically what would happen if Superman got infested by a chest burster is nothing, because he would survive. That's what would happen. And anyway, also, side note, he saves Lexport from blowing up.
Yes. So, he flies to Lexport. He catches it before it re-enters the atmosphere.
There is an extremely good panel that I absolutely loved of Lois is standing in a hallway being menaced by the xenomorph.
Yeah, this is really
fun.
And
then suddenly Superman's fist punches sideways in through the wall and punches the xenomorph's teeth out of its mouth.
Like the xenomorph bites down on his fist and its teeth break on his arm, on his forearm.
I love it. I loved it so much. It was so fucking funny.
And then he's like yelling at the thing. He's like, I tried to let your kind off easy. I resisted the idea of killing you, but now I have to kill you. And then he's like, no, I won't. He still likes chickens out.
Yeah, he still won't. And then Kimball basically goes, fuck this noise, and picks up this huge laser gun looking thing that she describes as a space welder, and then fires it at the xenomorph and basically turns it into a big pile of ash.
Yep. Bye-bye xenomorph.
Yep. Then Clark, who, by the way, I forgot to mention earlier, when we find out that Kara is infected, she gives him like a photo of her when she was a kid to be like, since I'm going to die, this is the only way I'll ever be remembered, because I didn't get married, I didn't have kids, I'm only 16. So remember me and don't forget that I existed. And so he pulls out this picture of her and he's telling Lois about how brave and resourceful he was and how much he's going to miss and mourn her death. And there's also this very funny point that seemed to be in there for no reason other than the big twist at the end, where Lois is like, are you sure she's actually dead? And Clark's like, yes, I am sure she's actually dead. And then it pans over to a second escape pod zipping through space, and a very much alive Kara is inside of it, just glaring out the window as it zips around through space.
Flying away.
Yep.
Honestly, never to be seen again. This comic was her only appearance.
Yeah, especially because even though there is a direct sequel to this comic, it does not involve her.
No, it doesn't.
It actually involves Darkseid.
I know.
So
we'll talk about it, but man, the end of Superman versus aliens.
Yeah, the end. That is how that is the end of Superman / aliens. That is correct.
Yeah, so it is stylized Superman / aliens. This trade paperback very specifically calls it Superman versus aliens in the page, the opening page before the first cover. So
yeah, I keep calling it Superman / aliens because like when the actual comics come out,
and the table of contents.
Like whenever a crossover comes out with aliens, it's always other properties / aliens, except for AVA, I guess. But like the reason I'm making that distinction is because whenever there's a Predator crossover, it's always other property versus Predator is the name of the comic. So
sure.
Oh, I also forgot to mention one thing.
Yeah.
He did actually save Kara's life because when he tried to teleport her that first time and it didn't work, it wasn't because he was trying to teleport her. It's because he teleported the chest burster out of her, which I thought was a really clever move.
Pretty slick move.
Yeah.
Finally, we see some smart Superman in this book.
Yeah, I genuinely did think that was a really clever touch. We find that out on the final page when he's telling Lois, he's like, I saved her from the xenomorphs, but I wasn't able to save her life. She still died in the explosion immediately after, even though I did teleport that chest burster out of her. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's clever. I wouldn't have thought of that.
So the reason she went to do the power core thing and he stayed with the pods is because he knew how to chart the pods to Earth. He knew where Earth was, and she knew how to mess with the technology. Right. That's how she talks
that's right.
him
because
into.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that because he did say, I'll take you to Earth. And she's like, Earth, never heard of it. And he's like, don't worry. I'll teach you how to get there.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff in there where she was like, I feel like your family and this and that. Again, they were really teasing this is Kara Zor-El, or this could be, or, maybe this is the new version of Kara and adopted, this is how we're doing the Kara thing, guys. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Again, like you said, 30 years old. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's fine. Doesn't I mean it's not even canon to DC anymore. No. Ever since they did the New 52 and Flashpoint, like the comic wasn't canon then. It's double not canon now. So
it wouldn't. Well, even then they introduced Kara properly prior to Infinite Crisis.
Yeah.
So
she showed up.
So it wouldn't have been
she showed
canon.
Up in.
It wouldn't have been
she showed up
anyway.
in Superman. Yeah, she showed up in Superman, Batman, in I think 2004, and then I believe Infinite Crisis was 2006. I think
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like because it was 40 years or 30 years or whatever after Crisis on Infinite Earths.
The way I view it is the same way that I view, for instance, Ultimate Marvel comics, where like you're reading Ultimate X-Men and a character shows up and you're like, oh, that's Wolverine or whoever. But then it turns out that this Wolverine is different than the Wolverine you're used to because it's like the different universe version of that character. And so the fact that like they reveal, like, I think the reveal that it's not from Krypton is dumb, but I got like your thing of like, oh, they keep on teasing like, oh, this is Kara, this is the new Kara, and then it turns out to not be. Well, it still is for this universe. This is the Kara of the universe that xenomorphs and DC characters coexist with.
Sure. So
so this is just like an alternate version of it, so it's fine. That aspect doesn't bother me. I do still think it's dumb to not be like, oh, it's not Krypton, but the fact that it's not doesn't inherently bother me as far as like, oh, they're teasing it and then it turned out to not, like, that part doesn't bother me. So
I'll we're not talking Xenopedia here, we're talking DC fandom, so we'll take everything here with a grain of salt. This Kara is listed as Kara of New Earth. New Earth is Earth Zero, Earth Prime, etc. It is the Earth created after Crisis on Infinite Earths, which became the primary reality when the multiverse was reformed. So it's the main universe. So they are saying that this Kara is existing in the main universe of New Earth. It is not Kara Zor-El. This is just a Kara. And the trivia section says, created by Dan Jurgens, Kara is based on the original Kara Zor-El / Supergirl, created by Otto Binder and Al Plastino, who made her first appearance in Action Comics 250, blah, 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 252. This character was one of the many attempts to replace the original Kara with a non-Kryptonian version during a period when DC wanted Superman to be the only Kryptonian survivor. So I'm wondering how many like Karas they attempted that they got running around in the 90s in DC Comics. I mean, I know the famous Matrix Supergirl is one of them, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And Power Girl, who is a Kryptonian, but
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Power Girl was also floating around at that same time, but during this period where Clark was the only Kryptonian, I don't know what Power Girl's like new backstory was, because she's from Earth 2.
Right.
I know that much. So I don't know what her backstory is like versus all of the other various Karas, and like how they changed Power Girl's backstory to not be Kryptonian. That part I don't know that much about. So,
right. Well, she is Kara Zor-El, just letter LL,
Yeah.
But whatever. This ain't the podcast for that. This is a Xenomorph podcast, so let's talk about some Xenomorph shit.
Mm-hmm.
There was some cool Xenomorph shit in this, right? There
was
Superman regurgitating a chest burster, pretty fucking dope. Okay,
yeah,
that was a cool moment. Is that really all I'm coming up with?
I was about to say, I'm noticing you're not listing a second thing.
That doesn't mean they're not there. Like, there were definitely cool moments in this, but like, I don't know. It was pretty cut and dry, straightforward. Nothing super crazy happened. Nothing super great happened. This felt a little like it wasted the potential of this crossover a little bit to me. And I don't know, maybe that's just the challenge of being like, we're going to have Superman fight some Xenomorphs. Well, we have to nerf his powers.
Yeah.
Right.
And I thought they did that in a pretty like organic way, because to bring back something I mentioned earlier, Injustice, they came up with some bullshit way to make everyone on the same power level in that one.
It's like a drug.
To explain it away.
Swallow this capsule, right? And now you can take a beating from Aquaman or whatever.
Yeah, like whatever. Whereas like in this one, I thought they did it in like a pretty organic and natural feeling way that like fits in with the character of Superman and biologically how he works. Like they found a way to do it that makes sense and doesn't feel like a hand wave, know?
That is where I was trying to go with this. At the end there where Lexport is falling into the atmosphere, and Superman's got a chest burster about to pop out of him, and he's powerless. And Kara's getting chased by the Queen, and all of this stuff is happening. Like, as I was reading that, I felt actually we kind of rushed through it in our conversation here, but I was very tense while reading it. Like the tension, like I felt the tension ratcheting up in that segment. It didn't feel rushed in the reading of it. It was very exciting to read that part. We always ask the question of, did this comic stick the landing? I think overall this one pretty much stuck the landing. The Kara stuff bothering me as a Superman fan, notwithstanding, right? That's not going to bother the average reader or most readers, and it probably shouldn't bother me either, right?
It's fine. It's fine if it does, though. It's all right.
But I think that this book, the ending was strong, and the ending, and I think it stuck the landing, and I think the ending made reading the whole thing worth it. Honestly,
I will say one thing that I sort of think is a missed opportunity is it kind of bugs me that we never got like a direct confrontation between Superman and the Queen. However, if we did, by the time he would have met the Queen, he didn't have his superpowers anyway, so he would have just gotten killed by it. So I guess it's fine, but like, the Queen shows up because it's the climax of the story, and the main character of the story is Superman. You want to see him fight the Xenomorph Queen, and he never does. But then again, like I said, by the time you get there, as you mentioned, he's not Superman, he's just man by that point. So
First, two things. We kind of did get that because that was a queen inside him, and he vomited it up.
That's true. He crushed it with his abdominal muscles. That's true.
Yeah. So that if that counts, right? But
Sure. All right.
the second is like I totally agree with you. It would have been nice to see him with his powers gone, particularly having to like take on a queen and be smart about it, right? Because this is like himbo era Superman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whose solution to everything is to just punch harder. And this book took that away from him. Yeah. So this was an opportunity to like explore the other parts of the character, right? That aren't throw more punches at it.
Or even if he didn't, and they engineered a way for the queen to follow him to Earth, and so he gets a chance to beat the shit out of the xenomorph queen after he gets his powers back.
That would have been sick, yeah.
That would have been fun too, you know?
Yeah. But alas.
But, you know, it's fine. Like the last time we see the queen is, I believe, her breaking open the teleporter pod that Kara was in, because right after that it cuts to Clark and then the whole thing fucking explodes. So I believe the last time we see her is breaking open the pod that Kara was in. So,
yeah,
you know, whatever. It's fine. I mean, since issue 2 ended with him getting face hugged, I suppose the most important narrative thing for the climax to be about would be him dealing with the chestburster, not dealing with the queen anyway. So I guess it makes more sense the way they did it, but still, I don't know. It would have been fun, you know?
Yeah, that would have been fun. I'll tell you, Superman Aliens 2, written by... I'll say, I think, controversial writer Chuck Dixon.
All right.
I think he's got some messy political views. I think that's what's going on with him. I think he's in maybe friends with Dean Cain.
The only Asian Superman, yeah.
I think he's friends with Dean Cain.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
He wrote Superman Aliens 2 God War, which is all about xenomorphs on New Genesis, Darkseid using them to take over New Genesis, and I think it's really funny how see, I mentioned it earlier that this comic, I thought it was a really clever use of, like, you know, the way Superman operates to be like, oh, we can make the xenomorphs a threat to him by putting him in a place that doesn't have a sun, so that way he loses his powers. Yeah.
Well, God War uses that same hook, and finding out that they do that again, I'm like, all right, well, now it's stupid now that they've done it a second time. And since they couldn't figure out another way to do it, now I think that sucks.
Yeah, but I love the idea of xenomorphs and parademons and parademon xenomorphs potentially, and I don't know, I mean, I'm a sucker for the Kirby Fourth World stuff anyway, so that seems like an exciting potential read for me. We'll get to that down the line, though. We're not doing that next or anything.
Yeah, we're not doing that anytime immediately soon. It will be funny when we get to that, though, because the entirety of my association with like Darkseid and Apocalypse and the New Gods and all those guys is that I read the first 9 issues of the 12-issue Mr. Miracle series from several years ago. And that's like, I didn't know who any of those people were, and I had no idea what was going on. And I was reading it going, all right. And then I didn't even finish it. And that's like literally my entire exposure to all those guys.
Okay. Well, you read the Wikipedia articles if we ever do this one.
The one other thing I know is that I love what's Darkseid's eye beams called?
Omega rays.
I love the way they're designed, where they're not just like, they don't fire straight, they're all like zigzaggy and weird patterned. I think that's really fun and it looks really cool, and I love to crack jokes where the punchline is the anti-life equation, and that's literally all I know about the New Gods. So
Omega beams, I think.
Well, Omega rays, that's fine, that's basically the same thing.
Yeah, it's Omega beams. Yep.
But yeah, I love their design where they're all like zigzaggy and they don't just shoot straight. I think that's really fun. And that is everything I know about the New Gods. So
Gotcha. Well, you don't need to know anything about them for now, because again, we're a Xenomorph podcast.
yeah, we're not going to be covering God War anytime soon. So.
No, sir. Final thoughts about Superman versus Aliens. It was all right. It was,
yeah, it's fine.
I think it was fun. I think that by the third issue, again, the tension was really working for me, and it was exciting. But there were a lot of things that I don't think were fully thought out very well. And it's an era of Superman that personally I'm not crazy about. And it just, I just didn't love it. In a post Aliens versus Avengers world, also,
which this comic was not, because it came out 30 years ago, but go on.
But we're reading it. We're reading it and covering it on a podcast post that kind of a crossover. It's going to be difficult to go backwards to some of these things, right?
That's true.
And the good news is we have a whole bunch of those lined up to go back to. It's pretty soon here.
See, it's funny that you say that, because this entire ever since the moment you called this comic dumb in our DMs a day or two ago, I couldn't stop thinking, oh no, this is going to be an Alien versus Predator versus Terminator situation all over again, isn't it?
Some of these have to be good though, right? Some of them have to be fun.
Some of them probably will be, yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to find out soon, folks, because Aliens Earth is starting very soon at the release of this episode, just a few weeks away. So I think we should talk to everybody about our plans on how to cover that. We're going to cover that show weekly on the podcast.
Yeah, we sure are. They're the first week that it comes out, I believe it's dropping 2 episodes. And so once it starts, for the entire remaining run of the show, which I think is going to be 7 more weeks past that, we're going to be doing 2 episodes a week.
Yes.
One of them is going to be about the new episode of Alien Earth, and the other one is going to be about something else. The reason we're doing 2 episodes a week is in case anyone doesn't want to watch the show week by week and wants to, wait until the entire season is out and watch all of it.
Yes.
That way you won't be sitting there for 2 months without any new episodes of the show.
Yeah. If someone's not interested in watching it, doesn't want to listen and hear spoilers, can't watch it for whatever reason, right? Right away.
You're still going to be getting classic CE content, baby, that entire time.
Yes. Now, because we're going to be doing 2 episodes a week, here's the plan. The Alien Earth episodes are going to be looser. They're basically going to be us talking about the episode we just watched, right?
Yep.
They're not going to be, that's it. Just conversation about what we just saw, whatever it is, maybe what we think is happening, what we think is going to happen, etc. Just a general conversation about whatever we just watched. Okay, spoilers are going to be free game, etc. But don't expect a tight, even as loose as we can get on the show, don't expect it to be as tight as a normal Crew Expendable episode. But the second episode each week is going to be, we decided this is a good chance to dive into even more comic book crossovers. So we have lined up on our list here the Aliens Judge Dredd Incubus series, which we're splitting in 2 because that's 4 issues. The Aliens Vampirella series, which we're splitting in 2 because that's 6 issues. Wildcats versus Aliens.
Yeah.
And one that I'm very excited about, Overkill, Witchblade, The Darkness, Aliens, and Predator.
We sure are. That is, listeners, that's the reason why we're covering Superman Aliens on this episode. It was originally going to be part of this lineup of the second weekly episodes during Alien Earth, But then we were like, well, the Superman movie just came out. Let's knock that one out early and then just, put something else in that spot.
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing this now as a kind of a little teaser of what to expect on that second episode each week next month.
It's our kickoff also, right? Like this is technically our crossover kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
So there you have it, folks. That is the schedule for the foreseeable future.
One thing I did forget to mention though, is that the first week, both of those episodes are going to be about episodes of Alien Earth.
Right, because they're dropping 2 episodes right away. So
we're going to
do
so.
2?
They're dropping the first 2 episodes both at the same time. So week 1 is going to be episodes 1 and 2 of Alien Earth. So if you don't plan on listening to the episodes right away or watching the show right away, you are going to have to go 1 week without new content. You're going to have to skip that week. But then starting in week 2, it's going to be the first episode is going to be episode 3 of Earth. And then the second episode is when the comic crossovers start. And then so from there on until the rest of the show, all you people that are going to be skipping the show for now will still have something to listen to.
Yeah, and hey, that first week, what a great time to go catch up on MK PodQuest.
That's right.
Whoa, hey, Future Neil cutting in here to say we are still planning on doing something for the old Alien and Aliens video games. The reason that episode did not release is because I got real sick and lost my voice, etc. You can actually hear me starting to get sick in this recorded episode. So, we just had to push that off. And now we're up against Alien Earth coming out. We are still planning on doing a live stream sometime soon for those games. So stay tuned. We haven't forgotten. That's all. Okay, back to the past. But I'm ready to get out of here, man. It's 10 o'clock on a school night.
Yeah, it sure is 10 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah. Any last thoughts on Superman Aliens book?
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's my final thoughts. It's fine. It was kind of fun. There's a little bit of cool xenomorph action, but this is one of those things where the title is Superman Aliens. What that means is that it is a Superman comic that has aliens in it. Like, the aliens are not nearly as much of a presence as you would think they are. Superman is constant. He's in he's not in every panel of the comic because there are parts where it cuts back to like what Lois is doing, but he is absolutely for sure the main character of the book. The xenomorphs are just kind of more of a minor annoyance than anything else, as far as they're not actually in that much of the book.
Yeah, but the xenomorph, the alien parts are good. I'd say
they are. They're fun.
The Superman parts are meh, and the alien parts are good.
Yeah, that's correct.
So
I will agree. I mean, even though ultimately I do think I like the book more than you, I will agree with that. The alien parts are cool and the Superman parts are okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's pack our escape pods and teleport to the space station.
You got it.
Kenny, where can people find you online if you want them to?
I am on Blue Sky and Twitter at CYHOBBEZ.
You can find me on Instagram at Final Neil, Blue Sky, and Threads, but I don't really do anything there. And hey, yeah, check out my now concluded Mortal Kombat Media podcast, MK PodQuest. I haven't plugged it on here for a while. Kenny talked about it at the beginning of the show. Go check it out. mkpodquest.com.
How does it feel to be down here with the plebs like me of only having one podcast now?
I'm working on some stuff.
I'm sure you are.
I always am, but it all comes down to what I can handle, you know.
That's correct.
Kenny, where can people find this show, though, on the internet?
Our Twitter account is at Crew Expendapod. Our Blue Sky account is at Crew Expendable. Our Instagram and our threads are both at Crew Expendable Pod. Our website is crewexpendable.net. As Neil mentioned earlier, our email is mother@crewexpendable.net. And finally, our YouTube page is youtube.com/@crewexpendable.
Yes, and I think we will be back to talk some Alien Earth next.
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting. So until then,
Stay frosty.
Ow. I think I broke my damn cup holder. Huh. Where the heck am I? And who the heck are you, bitch?
Hey man, I'm Copybot. Who are you and how did you get here to Argo City?
Oh, I was on a ship with two idiots, and the wet chains in the wet chain room weren't wet enough. So then, of course, I got sucked out of the airlock and into a rip in space. Now I'm here on this crap hole.
Yeah man, this place sure is a crap hole. Almost everybody is dead. The humans got killed by these black space roach things. It sucks.
Yeah, that does suck. How do I get out of here, though? Because I honestly would like to find a way back to my idiots.
Oh man, there's some cool transporter tech in this spaceship that the people don't know about. That feels like the kind of lazy Deus Ex Machina a story like this needs, doesn't it?
Sure does. Sounds Superman.